Nicholas Carter stands frozen in his hallway at 11:43 p.m., watching through the crack of the living room door. His wife, Rebecca, sits on their couch next to Daniel Reeves, too close. Daniel's hand rests on her knee. She's laughing, head thrown back, eyes bright, in a way Nicholas hasn't seen in 4 months. Not since their daughter got sick. Daniel leans in, whispers something. Rebecca's smile widens. Nicholas's fingers tighten around his phone. The screen shows a hospital timestamp from 6 hours ago. Emma Carter, oncology ward, room 347. He'd been sitting beside their 3-year-old daughter while she slept through another round of chemotherapy. Now this. His hand trembles. The floor creaks under his weight. Neither of them looks up. Nicholas takes one silent step backward into the darkness and disappears. 6 years earlier. Portland, Oregon. March 2017. Nicholas Carter was invisible. Average height, thin build, wire-rimmed glasses that slid down his nose when he worked. He wore the same rotation of button-up shirts from Target, blue, gray, white, repeat, and drove a 2012 Honda Civic with a cracked passenger mirror. 29 years old. Software engineer at a mid-tier tech firm. Salary, $78,000 per year. Nobody noticed him. He preferred it that way. At Powell's Books on a rainy Tuesday afternoon, Nicholas sat in the corner cafe debugging code on his laptop. Hot chocolate cooling beside him, noise-canceling headphones blocking out the world. He didn't see the woman until she tapped his shoulder. He pulled off the headphones. "Sorry," she said. "Is this seat taken?" Brown eyes, freckles across her nose, dark hair pulled into a messy bun. She held a coffee and a worn copy of East of Eden. "No," Nicholas said. "It's yours." She sat, opened her book. Nicholas went back to his code. 20 minutes passed in comfortable silence. Then she laughed, soft, surprised, at something in the book. Nicholas glanced over. Good part? Beautiful part. She showed him the page, a passage about human nature and choice. He read it, nodded. Steinbeck understood people better than people understand themselves. She smiled. "You read?" "When I'm not doing this." He gestured at his screen, lines of Python code cascading down. "What are you building?" He hesitated. Nobody ever asked. "Collaboration software," he said finally, "for businesses. Something that makes teamwork actually work." "That's cool." "It's boring." "No." She leaned forward. "It's not. You're solving a problem. That matters." Something shifted in Nicholas's chest. Her name was Rebecca Walsh, 26, graphic designer at a small marketing agency. She made $38,000 a year and loved her job despite the low pay. They talked for 2 hours. She gave him her number. He stared at it for 3 days before texting. They went on their first date to a food cart pod in southeast Portland, ate tacos in the rain under a leaky awning, laughed about nothing and everything. Nicholas fell in love slowly, then all at once. Rebecca fell harder. They married 14 months later in a tiny ceremony at a botanical garden in Seattle. 20 guests, handwritten vows. Rebecca wore a simple white dress from Nordstrom Rack. Nicholas cried during his vows and didn't care who saw. "I promise to see you," he said. "Always. Even when you think you're invisible. I'll see you." Rebecca squeezed his hands. "And I promise to see you back." They moved into a 2-bedroom apartment in Seattle's Fremont neighborhood. Combined income, $123,000. It felt like wealth. They were happy. Genuinely, simply happy. Nicholas worked his engineering job during the day. At night, in the spare bedroom, he built something else. The side project started small. A collaboration platform for remote teams, cloud-based, secure, intuitive interface. Everything Nicholas hated about existing software fixed. He called it Sync Flow. He didn't tell Rebecca the scope, Just said he was doing some freelance consulting work. She nodded, kissed his forehead. Don't stay up too late. He stayed up until 3 a.m. most nights, building, testing, iterating. The beta launched in January 2018 with 3 client companies. By June, it was 50 companies. By December, 200. Revenue climbed, $8,000 the first quarter, then $34,000, then $127,000. Nicholas kept working his day job, kept wearing his Target shirts, kept driving the Civic. Rebecca never suspected a thing. By early 2019, SyncFlow was generating $180,000 per month. Nicholas quit his day job, told Rebecca he was going full-time with consulting. She was proud, a little worried about stability, but proud. Just promise me we'll be okay, she said. We'll be okay, he promised. What he didn't say, they were already more than okay. His personal net worth had quietly crossed $1.2 million, but Nicholas had a problem. Investors wanted meetings, presentations, public appearances. They wanted a CEO who could sell the vision. Nicholas hated public speaking, hated networking, hated the performance of corporate leadership. He just wanted to build. So in March 2019, he made a decision that would eventually destroy his life. He hired Daniel Reeves. Daniel Reeves walked into the interview like he owned the room. 6'2", athletic build, expensive suit, smile that could sell ice to Alaskans. "I'll be honest," Daniel said, leaning back in his chair. "I'm not a tech guy. I'm a people guy. I make connections. I close deals. I make investors believe in the vision." "That's what I need," Nicholas said. "Then here's the play. You build it. I sell it. You stay in the shadows. I take the spotlight. We both win." Nicholas nodded. "What's your price?" $220,000 base, plus equity. 3% equity. That's the ceiling. Daniel extended his hand. "Deal." They shook. The arrangement was formalized in legal documents that Nicholas filed away in a drawer. Daniel Reeves, Chief Executive Officer. Nicholas Carter, Chief Technology Officer. To the outside world, investors, press, clients, even Rebecca, Daniel was the founder and face of SyncFlow Technologies. Nicholas became a footnote, the brilliant but reclusive CTO who preferred code to conversation. It worked perfectly. Daniel handled the conference calls and investor dinners and TechCrunch interviews. Nicholas built features and fixed bugs and scaled infrastructure. SyncFlow's valuation climbed, $5 million in 2019, $18 million in 2020, $43 million by mid-2021. Nicholas's personal net worth crossed $30 million. He still drove the Civic, still lived in the Fremont apartment, still wore Target shirts. Rebecca had no idea. Their daughter Emma was born in August 2020. 7 pounds, 3 ounces. Perfect tiny fingers. Nicholas's nose. Rebecca's eyes. Nicholas held her in the hospital room and felt his world realign. Everything he was building, every line of code, every late night, was for her, for this family. He'd tell Rebecca eventually, when the time was right, when he could present it as a complete gift, a finished surprise. "Look what I built for us. We're set. For life." He picked a date, his 40th birthday, March 15th, 2023. He'd throw a small dinner party, invite close friends. Daniel would be there, of course. After dessert, Nicholas would stand up and explain everything. The company, the wealth, the house he'd already found in Bellevue, a beautiful craftsman with a yard for Emma, views of Lake Washington, 4 bedrooms, $1.9 million, cash offer ready. He imagined Rebecca's face, the shock melting into joy, the laughter, the tears. It would be perfect. December 12th, 2022. Emma was 2 years and 4 months old. She'd been tired for a week, napping more than usual, picking at her food. "She's probably fighting off a cold," Nicholas said, but Rebecca's face was tight with worry. "Look at her legs." bruises, dark purple splotches on Emma's shins. Neither of them remembered her falling. "Kids bruise easy," Nicholas said. "Not like this." They took Emma to the pediatrician the next morning. Blood work came back abnormal. More tests, specialists, a pediatric hematologist who spoke in careful, measured tones. On December 18th, they sat in a consultation room at Seattle Children's Hospital. Cream-colored walls, a box of tissues on the table nobody had touched yet. The oncologist was a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and steady hands. "Emma has acute lymphoblastic leukemia," she said. "It's a cancer of the blood and bone marrow. Treatable. Survival rates for her age group are around 88 to 90%, but treatment is intensive. Chemotherapy, hospital stays, close monitoring for 2 to 3 years." Rebecca made a sound, small, broken, like something inside her had cracked. Nicholas couldn't breathe. "When do we start?" he asked. "Today," the doctor said. "We'll admit her now." Emma was hospitalized for 18 days. Induction chemotherapy, steroids, anti-nausea medications, blood transfusions when her counts dropped too low. Nicholas slept in the chair beside her bed. 17 nights straight. He held her hand during procedures. Red, goodnight moon. At 4 a.m. when the steroids made sleep impossible. Wiped her tears when the IV hurt. Rebecca came every day, but she couldn't stay. The hospital terrified her. The sounds of monitors beeping, children crying, the antiseptic smell that clung to everything. She'd stay for 3 hours, then leave. Go home to shower, to breathe. Nicholas didn't judge her. Everyone carries fear differently. Emma came home on January 5th. Her hair was already thinning from the chemo. Her skin pale. But she was alive. The outpatient treatment schedule was relentless. Clinic visits 3 times per week, labs, chemotherapy infusions, adjustments to medication protocols. Nicholas managed everything. He tracked appointments in a color-coded spreadsheet, learned medical terminology, became fluent in blood counts and treatment phases. He also managed sync flow remotely, late-night video calls with Daniel, code reviews at 2 a.m., strategic decisions made between Emma's nap times. He was drowning, but he didn't stop. Rebecca saw him hunched over his laptop at midnight and felt something inside her wither. "You're always working," she said one night. "Bills don't pay themselves. Maybe you should take leave. Be present." He looked up, exhausted. "I am present." But he wasn't. His body was there. His mind was fragmented across a dozen urgent priorities, none of which he could abandon. Communication collapsed. They stopped talking about anything except Emma's treatment. Stopped touching except in passing. Became 2 exhausted strangers managing a crisis under the same roof. The medical bills arrived in waves. $52,000 for the initial hospitalization, $11,000 for outpatient chemo, $7,400 for labs and imaging. Their insurance covered 80%. That left them with $14,080 out of pocket by the end of January. Rebecca stared at the statements spread across their kitchen table. "How are we paying for this?" she whispered. Nicholas didn't look up from his laptop. "We have savings." "We have $32,000 in savings, Nicholas. This is going to cost us hundreds of thousands if it goes on for years." "It won't." "You don't know that." He wanted to tell her, right then. "We have $38 million. I own SyncFlow. We're fine. We're more than fine." But the timing felt cruel. She was terrified, fragile. Dropping that bomb now would feel like he'd been lying through the worst crisis of their lives. So he swallowed the truth. "We'll figure it out," he said. "I promise." She didn't believe him. Daniel Reeves started visiting in late January. "Just checking in," he'd say, standing in the doorway with expensive coffee from that place on Capitol Hill. "Wanted to see how you're holding up." Rebecca would let him in. They'd sit in the living room while Nicholas worked in the bedroom, managing sync flow crises and Emma's care plan simultaneously. Daniel would listen, ask questions, nod with perfect empathy. "You're carrying so much," he'd say. "You're incredible." Rebecca felt seen. For the first time in months, someone was looking at her. Not through her, not past her, but at her. Daniel's visits stretched longer. 20 minutes became an hour. An hour became 2. Rebecca started brushing her hair before he came over, putting on real clothes instead of sweatpants. She told herself it didn't mean anything. She was just taking care of herself, reclaiming small pieces of normalcy. The first text came on February 3rd. Daniel: "Hey, just wanted to check in. How's Emma doing?" Rebecca: "Rough day. Counts are low. Back to the clinic tomorrow." Daniel: "I'm sorry. That's so hard. How are you doing?" Nobody had asked her that in weeks. Rebecca: "Honestly, I don't know. Trying to hold it together." Daniel: "You're stronger than you think, and you don't have to hold it together all the time. It's okay to not be okay." She stared at the message for a long time, then typed, "Thank you." The texts continued. Daily at first, then multiple times per day. Nothing inappropriate, just connection. Someone who saw her struggling and didn't look away. Nicholas didn't notice. He was buried in Emma's treatment protocols and code deployments and investor updates. He'd lost 14 pounds. His eyes had permanent shadows underneath. Rebecca looked at him sometimes and felt a confusing knot of love and resentment. Why does he get to shut down? Why do I have to carry this alone? She didn't realize Nicholas was carrying the weight of 3 lives, hers, Emma's, and a multi-million-dollar company. She just saw his absence. February 14th, Valentine's Day. Nicholas forgot. He'd been up until 4 a.m. fixing a critical security vulnerability in SyncFlow's infrastructure. Woke at 7 a.m. to take Emma to her clinic appointment. Rebecca said nothing. But when Daniel texted that afternoon, "Happy Valentine's Day. Hope you're finding moments of joy today," she felt something dangerous bloom in her chest. She texted back, "You just made my day better." The boundary broke on February 21st. Daniel came by at 8 p.m. Nicholas was at the hospital with Emma for an overnight observation stay. Rebecca answered the door in yoga pants and an oversized sweater. "Hey," Daniel said, "thought you might want company." She should have said no, should have recognized the risk. But loneliness is a powerful thing. She let him in. They sat on the couch. Daniel opened a bottle of wine he'd brought. Rebecca rarely drank, but she accepted a glass. "You're carrying so much," Daniel said quietly. "And I don't think anyone's telling you how strong you are, how amazing." Rebecca's eyes burned. "I don't feel amazing. I feel like I'm failing." "You're not. Nicholas barely sees me anymore. He's just gone. Even when he's here." Daniel moved closer. His hand found her knee. "Then he's a fool." Rebecca's breath caught. She knew what was happening, knew she should stop it. But when Daniel leaned in, she didn't pull away. The kiss lasted maybe 4 seconds. Then reality crashed back. Rebecca jerked away, eyes wide. "No, no, I can't. You need to leave." Daniel raised his hands. "I'm sorry, I misread." "Just go." He left. Rebecca sat alone on the couch, trembling, staring at her wedding ring. She didn't tell Nicholas. Over the next 3 weeks, Rebecca tried to convince herself it hadn't happened. A moment of weakness. Stress. It didn't count. But she kept texting Daniel, and Daniel, patient, strategic, kept responding. He never pushed, never mentioned the kiss, just stayed present. A refuge from her collapsing world. "I'm not doing anything wrong," Rebecca told herself. "I just need support." March 8th, 1 week before Nicholas's 40th birthday. Emma had been home for 5 days. Her counts were improving, hair falling out in clumps, but energy returning. The worst seemed to be passing. Nicholas finally let himself breathe. He'd been planning the birthday reveal for months. Everything was ready. The restaurant reservation, the speech drafted and redrafted, the house in Bellevue, closing scheduled for March 20th. After dinner, he'd stand up and explain everything to Rebecca and their small group of friends. I built SyncFlow. I own it. We're worth $38 million. The medical bills are covered. The house is bought. Emma's future is secure. We're free. He imagined her face, the shock, the disbelief, then the joy, pure, overwhelming joy, as she realized they'd been safe all along. It was going to be perfect. March 10th, 11:30 p.m. Nicholas came home early from a late video call with SyncFlow's legal team. He parked in the driveway. The living room lights were on. He unlocked the front door quietly, keys in one hand, phone in the other. Then froze. Through the crack in the doorway, he saw them. Rebecca and Daniel on the couch. Too close. Daniel's hand on her shoulder. Her head tilted toward him. Laughing, really laughing, in a way Nicholas hadn't heard in 4 months. His heart stopped. He stood there for 37 seconds. Maybe longer. Neither of them noticed him. Finally, Rebecca glanced at her phone. It's late. You should probably go. Daniel nodded. Stood. Yeah, but hey, call me if you need anything. Anytime. I will. He left through the front door, walked within 4 feet of where Nicholas stood, pressed against the hallway wall in the shadows. Didn't see him. Rebecca sat on the couch alone, smiling faintly at her phone. Nicholas walked back outside, sat in his car in the driveway for 43 minutes, hands gripping the steering wheel. Breathing. Just breathing. March 11th. Nicholas called a private investigator. The meeting happened in a Starbucks in Bellevue. The PI, a woman in her 50s named Karen with sharp eyes and a kind face, took notes on a tablet. What exactly are you looking for? She asked. I don't know, Nicholas said. His voice sounded hollow. Proof, clarity, the truth. How long do you want surveillance? 48 hours. That's all I can afford. He paid her $1,500 in cash. Left feeling sick. The surveillance started March 12th. The report arrived March 14th at 8:17 a.m., 1 day before Nicholas's 40th birthday. He opened it in his car outside Seattle Children's Hospital, where Emma had a routine follow-up appointment. Surveillance report. Rebecca Carter and Daniel Reeves. Summary of observations. March 12th. 2:30 p.m. Subjects met at Volunteer Park. Walked together for 47 minutes. Physical contact observed, hand-holding, 3 instances. Subject D's arm around Subject R's shoulders, continuous, 12+ minutes. March 13th, 7:45 p.m. Subject D arrived at Subject R's residence. Subject N not present. Subject sat on couch. Physical contact observed. Extended embrace. Subject R's head on Subject D's shoulder. Duration of visit, 2 hours, 18 minutes. Attached were photos. Rebecca and Daniel walking in the park. His arm around her. Her leaning into him. Rebecca and Daniel on the couch. Her head on his shoulder. Both smiling. Nicholas stared at the images until his vision blurred. Today was supposed to be the rehearsal dinner. Tomorrow was supposed to be the reveal. Everything he'd built. Everything he'd hidden. Everything he'd planned. Ash. He sat in the car for 20 minutes, then dialed Daniel's number. Hey! Daniel's voice was bright, cheerful. What's up, man? We need to talk, Nicholas said. In person, now. Pause. Everything okay? My office, 1 hour. He hung up. Daniel arrived at SyncFlow headquarters at 10:15 a.m. The building was glass and steel, modern and expensive. Daniel had an office on the 3rd floor with his name on the door. Nicholas's office was on the 5th floor, smaller. No nameplate. Nobody knew who really owned the company. Daniel walked in with his trademark smile. What's going on? You sounded... Nicholas slid the PI report across the desk. Daniel's smile died. He stared at the photos, color draining from his face. "It's not what it looks like," he stammered. "Then what is it?" "She was struggling, okay? You were never around. She needed someone to fuck her?" Daniel flinched. It's not like that. It's emotional. She just needed support." "Support?" Nicholas's voice was deadly quiet. "That's your story? You don't get it." Daniel's jaw tightened. "You're so busy playing hero with your sick kid and your secret empire that you don't even see what's happening in your own marriage. She's lonely, Nicholas. Desperate. And you're nowhere." Nicholas stood slowly. "You're fired." "What?" "Effective immediately. Security will escort you out. Legal will send termination paperwork." Daniel's face twisted. "You can't fire me. I'm the CEO." "No." Nicholas's voice cut like a blade. "You're an employee. I own 89% of this company. You own 3%. You work for me, and you're done." "She came to me." Daniel's voice rose. "I didn't chase her. She wanted this. You pushed her away." Nicholas pressed a button on his desk phone. 2 security guards appeared in the doorway. "Escort Mr. Reeves out of the building," Nicholas said. "He no longer works here." Daniel stared at him, then at the guards. "You're making a mistake," Daniel said. "The only mistake I made was trusting you." They led Daniel away. The door closed. Nicholas stood alone in his office, staring out at the Seattle skyline. Everything he'd built, everything he'd hidden, gone. That evening, Nicholas came home. Rebecca was in the kitchen making dinner. Emma played in the living room, her laughter bright and clear. "Hey!" Rebecca called. "You're home early. I'm making your favorite." "We need to talk," Nicholas said. Rebecca turned, saw his face. "What's wrong?" Nicholas set his phone on the counter, opened the PI photos. Rebecca stared at the screen. All color left her face. "Nicholas, don't. I can explain." "Explain what? That you've been fucking my employee while I've been trying to save our daughter?" We didn't. It's not like that." Her voice cracked. "It's emotional, okay? He's been there for me. You've been a ghost for months. I've been trying to keep this family afloat. By working yourself to death? By hiding behind your laptop? I needed you, Nicholas, and you weren't there. I was at the hospital. I was paying the bills. I was absent." Rebecca's voice broke into a sob. "You were absent. And Daniel, he saw me. He listened. He made me feel like I mattered." Nicholas's jaw worked. Then he spoke. Quiet. Controlled. "Daniel doesn't work for himself. He works for me." Rebecca blinked. "What?" "I own SyncFlow. I built it. Daniel was hired to be the public face because I hate attention. But it's my company. Always has been." Silence. "You're lying." Nicholas pulled documents from his bag. Financial statements, legal filings, all with his name as primary owner. Rebecca's knees buckled. She grabbed the counter. "I'm worth $38 million, Nicholas said. "The medical bills? Paid. Every single one. The house in Bellevue I've been looking at? Already bought. Cash. Emma's future? Secured. College? Everything. We were safe, Rebecca. We were always safe." Rebecca sank to the floor. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no, no. I was going to tell you tomorrow, at my birthday dinner, surprise you with everything I'd built for us. For you. For Emma." Tears streamed down Rebecca's face. "I didn't know," she choked out. "I swear. I didn't." "You didn't need to know how much money we had to stay faithful." The words landed like a slap. Rebecca sobbed into her hands. "I fired Daniel this morning," Nicholas continued. "Effective immediately. He used your fear and loneliness to get close to you because that's what manipulators do. And you let him." "I'm sorry," Rebecca wailed. "Oh God, I'm so sorry. I need you to leave." Rebecca looked up, mascara running. What? Pack a bag. Stay with your sister. I'll have my lawyer contact you. Nicholas, please. Emma needs stability. Right now, that's not you. You can't take her from me. Watch me. Rebecca's sobs turned into keening wails. But Nicholas walked out of the kitchen, went to Emma's room, sat on the floor beside her while she played with her toys, and tried not to shatter. Before we continue, if this story is hitting you, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. These stories take days to write. Drop your city in the comments below. I love seeing where you're all watching from. Now, back to what happened next. The divorce proceedings moved with brutal efficiency. Rebecca hired a lawyer who tried to argue for joint custody and spousal support. Nicholas's attorney, a renowned family law specialist named Margaret Chen, presented the evidence. The affair. The emotional abandonment during Emma's illness. The inability to provide stable care. Rebecca's lawyer argued it was a moment of weakness during extraordinary stress. Margaret countered, infidelity during a family health crisis demonstrates precisely the kind of judgment failure that makes shared custody untenable. The judge, a woman in her 60s with steel-gray hair, reviewed the case files for 3 days. The ruling came down on April 18th. Primary physical custody, Nicholas Carter. Visitation, Rebecca Carter. Supervised. Twice per month, 4 hours per visit. Rebecca collapsed in the courtroom. May 2023. Nicholas moved into the Bellevue house. 4 bedrooms. Backyard with a swing set. Windows overlooking Lake Washington. He hired a nanny, a woman in her 50s named Grace with kind eyes and steady hands, to help with Emma while he worked. Emma adjusted quickly. Her cancer remained in remission. Hair growing back in soft brown curls, energy returning, but she asked about her mother every day. When is Mommy coming home? Mommy has her own place now, sweetheart. Can I see her? Soon. But Emma's eyes, Rebecca's eyes, held confusion that broke Nicholas every time. June 4th, the second supervised visitation. Nicholas drove Emma to a neutral location, a family center in Seattle with bright painted walls and toys scattered across the floor. A social worker named Linda supervised. Rebecca arrived 10 minutes early, hair pulled back, no makeup, dark circles under her eyes. Emma saw her and ran. Mommy! Rebecca dropped to her knees, arms open. Emma crashed into her. Rebecca held her daughter and sobbed, huge, gasping sobs that shook her whole body. I missed you so much, baby. So much. Emma pulled back, confused by the tears. Why are you crying? Because I'm happy. So happy to see you. Nicholas watched from the doorway. His chest felt like it was caving in. The visitation lasted 4 hours. Rebecca read books, played dolls, colored pictures, laughed at Emma's jokes. When time was up, Linda approached gently. We need to wrap up. Emma's face fell. But I just got here. You'll see Mommy again soon, Linda said. When? 2 weeks. Emma's eyes filled with tears. That's too long. She turned to Nicholas, standing by the door. Daddy, can Mommy come home? Nicholas felt something crack inside him. Not right now, sweetheart. Why not? Because things are complicated. I don't want complicated, Emma's voice rose. I want Mommy home. She started crying. Rebecca scooped her up, tears streaming down her own face. It's okay, baby. It's okay. But it wasn't okay. Nothing was okay. That night, after Emma finally fell asleep, Nicholas sat alone on the back porch. The lake was dark, stars scattered across the sky like broken promises. His phone buzzed. A text from his lawyer, Margaret. Margaret. Rebecca's attorney filed a motion to modify custody, requesting expanded visitation and eventual joint custody, hearing scheduled for July 12th. Nicholas stared at the message. He could fight it. Win, probably. keep Emma to himself. But Emma's question echoed in his mind. Daddy, can Mommy come home? June 11th, 3:47 a.m. Nicholas couldn't sleep. He'd been lying in bed for 3 hours, staring at the ceiling, replaying the visitation in his mind. Emma's tears, Rebecca's face, the way Emma had looked at him like he was the one keeping them apart. Because he was. Nicholas got up, went to Emma's room. She was asleep, curled around her stuffed elephant, breathing soft and steady. He sat on the edge of her bed, brushed hair from her forehead, and let himself ask the question he'd been avoiding for 2 months. What am I doing? Rebecca had betrayed him. That was fact. She'd turned to another man during their worst crisis, chosen emotional comfort over loyalty. That hurt, still hurt, would maybe always hurt. But she hadn't known about the money, hadn't known they were safe. She'd been terrified, overwhelmed, watching her daughter fight cancer while medical bills piled up and her husband disappeared into work. She'd made a terrible choice, but was it unforgivable? Nicholas thought about his own absence during those months. He'd been there physically, hospital chairs, clinic waiting rooms, their apartment. But emotionally, he'd been fragmented, divided, trying to save a daughter and run a company and hide a secret that kept growing heavier. He hadn't seen Rebecca drowning, because he'd been drowning too. Nicholas thought about Emma, about what she needed, not what felt fair, not what felt like justice, what she actually needed. And the answer was clear. Her mother. June 15th. Nicholas called his lawyer. I want to withdraw my objection to the custody modification, he said. Silence on the other end. You're sure? Margaret asked. No, but it's the right thing to do. Nicholas, legally you're in a strong position. You could maintain primary custody for years. I know, but Emma needs her mother, and I can't be the person who keeps them apart just because I'm angry. Margaret sighed. All right, I'll file the paperwork. What are you proposing? Joint custody, 50-50, pending Rebecca's continued therapy and stability. That's generous. It's what Emma needs. June 23rd. Nicholas called Rebecca. She answered on the first ring. Hello? Her voice was cautious, fragile. It's me. I know. Silence. I'm withdrawing my objection to joint custody, Nicholas said. My lawyer will send the proposal, 50-50 split, pending continued therapy. Rebecca made a sound, half sob, half gasp. Are you serious? Yeah. Why? Nicholas closed his eyes. Because Emma asked for you, and I realized I can't be the person who keeps you apart just because I'm hurt. She needs her mother. Silence. Then Rebecca's voice, thick with tears. Thank you. God, Nicholas, thank you. Don't thank me, just show up. For her. Keep going to therapy. Be the mother she deserves. I will. I swear I will. Another pause. Rebecca? Yeah? I can't forgive you yet. Maybe not for a long time, but I'm trying to understand. We both failed each other during the worst time of our lives. I'm not saying it's equal. It's not. But we both failed. Rebecca's breath hitched. I know. And I'm so sorry. I know. Can I ask you something? What? Do you think, eventually, we could be friends? Co-parents who actually talk? Nicholas stared out at the lake. I don't know. Maybe. For Emma. For Emma, Rebecca echoed. They hung up. July 12th. The custody hearing was brief. Both lawyers presented the agreed-upon modification, joint legal and physical custody, week on, week off schedule, major decisions made jointly, continued therapy for Rebecca, documented every month. The judge reviewed the documents, looked at both Nicholas and Rebecca sitting on opposite sides of the courtroom. This is unusual, the judge said. Most high-conflict custody cases don't resolve this amicably. We're trying to do what's best for our daughter, Nicholas said. The judge nodded. That's exactly what you should be doing. She signed the order. Joint custody is granted. This arrangement will be reviewed in 6 months. Rebecca's shoulders shook with silent tears. Nicholas felt something inside him unclench slightly. Not forgiveness, not healing, but maybe the beginning of acceptance. August 3rd, the first week of the new custody arrangement. Rebecca picked Emma up from Nicholas's house at 5 p.m. on Friday. Emma ran to her mother with a squeal. "Mommy!" Rebecca lifted her, spinning. "Hi, baby. Ready for our week together?" "Yes. Can we make pancakes for dinner?" "Absolutely." Emma grabbed her backpack, stuffed elephant tucked inside, and ran to Rebecca's car. Nicholas stood in the doorway, watching. Rebecca turned back, met his eyes. "Thank you," she said quietly. "For this. For her." Nicholas nodded. "She missed you." "I missed her too." Rebecca hesitated. "How are you doing?" The question surprised him. "I'm managing. If you ever want to talk about co-parenting stuff or logistics, I'm here." "Okay." Rebecca got in the car. Emma waved from the back seat, grinning. Nicholas waved back, watched them drive away, then went inside to an empty house that suddenly felt too big. September 2023. Emma started preschool. Both Nicholas and Rebecca attended the orientation together, sitting on opposite sides of the classroom. But there. Emma pointed them out to her new teacher. "That's my daddy and that's my mommy." The teacher smiled. "Wonderful. It's so nice when parents are both involved." After orientation, they walked to their separate cars in the parking lot. "She seems excited," Rebecca said. "Yeah. She picked out her backpack herself, the one with the unicorns." "I know. She told me about it 17 times. Rebecca smiled, small, genuine. Nicholas almost smiled back, caught himself, but the moment felt less sharp than before. October 18th. Emma's 4-year checkup at the oncology clinic. Both Nicholas and Rebecca attended. They sat in the waiting room together, not next to each other, but in the same space. Emma played with blocks on the floor between them. When the nurse called them back, they both stood, walked together down the familiar hallway. Room 347, the same room where Emma had spent so many nights. Dr. Patel, Emma's oncologist, smiled when she saw Emma. "Look at you, your hair is beautiful," Emma beamed. "It's curly now." "It is. Let's check how you're doing." The exam was thorough. Blood work, physical assessment, review of recent labs. Dr. Patel turned to Nicholas and Rebecca, both holding their breath. "Everything looks excellent," she said. "Emma's counts are normal. No signs of relapse. She's officially 18 months post-diagnosis and thriving." Rebecca started crying. Nicholas exhaled, long, shaky. Emma looked between them, confused. "Why is everyone crying?" "Happy tears, baby," Rebecca said. "We're just really, really happy." Dr. Patel knelt beside Emma. "You're a very strong girl. Keep being amazing." Emma nodded seriously. "I will." In the parking lot afterward, Rebecca turned to Nicholas. "Can I buy you coffee? Just to, I don't know, celebrate?" Nicholas hesitated. Every instinct screamed, no, too soon, too complicated. But something in Rebecca's eyes, hopeful, tentative, trying, made him pause. "Just coffee," he said. 30 minutes. "Just coffee," Rebecca agreed. They went to a cafe near the hospital, ordered drinks, sat at a table by the window. Silence stretched between them. Then Rebecca spoke. "I'm in therapy twice a week now." "That's good." "My therapist says I have abandonment issues, stemming from childhood stuff, my dad leaving. I've been working through it." Nicholas nodded. "That's good, really." "I'm not making excuses," Rebecca said quickly. "What I did was wrong, inexcusable. I'm trying to understand why, so I don't repeat the pattern." "Okay." Rebecca twisted her coffee cup. "Can I ask what you're doing? Like therapy or—" "Yeah. I started in July, processing everything." "Does it help?" Sometimes. They sipped their coffee. Emma's celebration drawing, a picture of herself as a superhero fighting cancer monsters, sat on the table between them. "She's incredible," Rebecca said softly. "Despite everything we put her through, she is. I want to be better, for her." "Then be better." Rebecca met his eyes. "I'm trying." Nicholas believed her. That didn't make it hurt less, but it was something. December 2023. Emma's 4th birthday party. Nicholas and Rebecca planned it together over email. Minimal conversation, just logistics. The party was at a children's museum. 20 kids, pizza, cake shaped like a castle. Emma wore a princess dress and ran around screaming with her friends. Nicholas and Rebecca stood on opposite sides of the room, but when it was time to sing Happy Birthday, they stood together. Emma beamed between them, tiara crooked on her head, candles flickering in front of her. She closed her eyes, made a wish, blew out the candles. Everyone cheered. Emma looked up at Nicholas, then Rebecca. "What did you wish for, baby?" Rebecca asked. "Can't tell or it won't come true." Emma giggled and ran off to play, but Nicholas saw it in her eyes. She'd wished for them, to be together, to be whole again. And his heart broke all over again, because that wasn't something he could give her. January 2024. 1 year since Emma's diagnosis. Nicholas sat alone in his office at home staring at a spreadsheet. SyncFlow had been acquired 3 months earlier by a larger tech conglomerate, $340 million. His cut, $287 million after taxes and distributions. He'd donated $60 million to Seattle Children's Hospital, created an endowed fund for pediatric cancer research. Another $15 million went to the foundation he'd started. Grants for families dealing with childhood illness, medical bills, housing, transportation, whatever they needed. The rest sat in investment accounts, growing quietly. He'd accomplished everything he'd set out to do. Built an empire, secured his daughter's future, made a difference. But the victory felt hollow, because the person he'd wanted to share it with was gone. February 14th, 2024. Valentine's Day, Nicholas's week with Emma. They made heart-shaped pancakes for breakfast, watched Disney movies, colored cards for Rebecca, Emma insisted. That evening, after Emma went to bed, Nicholas's phone buzzed. A text from Rebecca. Rebecca. "Emma's card made my whole day. Thank you for helping her make it." Nicholas. "She wanted to. All her idea." Rebecca. "She talks about you constantly during my weeks. Says you make the best grilled cheese and you're teaching her chess." Nicholas. "She talks about you too. Says you do the best braids and you sing funny songs in the car." Pause. 3 dots appearing and disappearing. Rebecca. "We made a pretty great kid." Nicholas stared at the message. Typed, "Yeah, we did." March 15th, 2024. Nicholas's 41st birthday. Emma made him a card at preschool. Construction paper covered in glitter and marker drawings. Inside, in Rebecca's handwriting, "To Daddy, you are the best. I love you to the moon. Love, Emma." Emma presented it that morning with a huge grin. "Do you like it?" "I love it." Nicholas picked her up, hugged her tight. Best present ever. That evening, Rebecca dropped off a gift during the custody exchange, a small wrapped box. "You didn't have to," Nicholas said. "I know, but I wanted to." He opened it later, after Emma was asleep. Inside, a leather-bound journal. The first page had a handwritten note. Nicholas. "I know this year didn't go the way you planned. I'm sorry for my part in that, sorrier than I can ever express. But I also want you to know, what you built, SyncFlow, the foundation, the life you created for Emma, it's extraordinary. You are extraordinary. Thank you for giving me a second chance with our daughter. I'll spend the rest of my life earning it." Happy birthday. Rebecca. Nicholas closed the journal, set it carefully on his nightstand, and let himself cry for the first time in months. April 2024, Emma's preschool spring concert. Both Nicholas and Rebecca attended. They sat together, not by design, but because Emma had saved seats for Mommy and Daddy next to each other. Emma performed in a play about garden vegetables. She was a carrot, wore an orange costume Rebecca had made. She forgot half her lines and improvised wildly. The audience laughed. Nicholas and Rebecca glanced at each other. For the first time in over a year, they smiled at the same moment. A shared recognition. That's our kid. The smile lasted maybe 2 seconds, but it was there. May 2024. Nicholas received a letter, forwarded from SyncFlow's old address. The return address, Phoenix, Arizona. He almost threw it away, but opened it. Nicholas. I don't expect you to read this. I don't deserve your time or attention. But I need to say it anyway. I'm sorry. What I did was unforgivable. I manipulated Rebecca when she was vulnerable. I used your trust. I destroyed your life for my own ego. I've been in therapy for 18 months, working through narcissism, manipulation, the deep insecurity that made me need to be seen as powerful. I lost everything. My reputation, my career, had to start over in a new city with a new name. I deserved it. I don't want forgiveness. I just want you to know. Rebecca loved you. The whole time. Even when she was with me, she talked about you, about Emma, about the life you'd built. I was a distraction, a mistake, but her love for you was real. I hope you and Emma are well. Daniel. Nicholas read the letter twice, then burned it in the fireplace. Some apologies don't deserve acceptance, they just deserve acknowledgement. And then silence. June 2024. Emma finished preschool. Graduation ceremony in the school gym. Tiny caps and gowns, off-key singing. Emma walked across the stage, grinning at the audience. Spotted Nicholas and Rebecca sitting together, 3 seats apart but together. Waved at both of them. Afterward, they took photos. Emma between them, holding both their hands. Say cheese, the teacher called. Cheese, Emma shouted. The camera clicked. Nicholas looked at the photo later that night. Emma's joy was radiant, but his and Rebecca's smiles were cautious, performative, still broken, but trying. July 2024, the 6-month custody review. The judge reviewed therapy reports, school records, medical updates. Everything looks positive, she said. Emma is thriving. Both parents are actively involved. I'm making the joint custody arrangement permanent. She banged the gavel. Outside the courtroom, Rebecca turned to Nicholas. I know things are still hard between us, but I want you to know, I see what you're doing, how you show up for her, how you put her first even when it's painful. Nicholas nodded. That's what parents do. Not all of them. They stood in the hallway, people passing around them. Can I ask you something? Rebecca said. What? Do you think you'll ever forgive me? Nicholas was silent for a long moment. I don't know, he said honestly. Some days I think maybe. Other days I'm still so angry I can't see straight. Rebecca nodded slowly. That's fair. But I'm trying. For Emma, to let go of the anger. That's all I can ask. September 2024. Emma started kindergarten, big school now, real backpack, lunchbox with her name on it. Both Nicholas and Rebecca walked her to her classroom on the first day. Emma held both their hands, swinging between them. Are you nervous? Rebecca asked. Nope, Emma said. I'm excited. At the classroom door, Emma hugged them both. Love you, Daddy. Love you, Mommy. Love you too, sweetheart, they said in unison. Emma ran inside to find her desk. Nicholas and Rebecca stood in the hallway. She's growing up so fast, Rebecca said. Yeah. Remember when she was born? She was so tiny. I remember. They watched through the classroom window as Emma made friends with the girl sitting next to her. We made a good kid, Rebecca said softly. Nicholas looked at her, really looked at her. She'd changed, thinner, older, sadness in her eyes that hadn't been there before, but also strength, the strength that comes from breaking and rebuilding. Yeah, he said. We did. December 2024, Emma's 5th birthday, another party, smaller this time, just family and close friends. The custody exchange happened at Nicholas's house. Rebecca arrived with presents, stayed for the party. They'd done this before, coexisted in the same space for Emma's sake. But this time felt different. Less tension, less performance, more acceptance. During cake, Emma made a speech. I want to say thank you to my daddy for always being there and reading me stories. And thank you to my mommy for making my costume and singing songs. You're both the best parents ever, and I love you so much. She beamed at them. Nicholas and Rebecca exchanged a glance. In that look, grief for what they'd lost, gratitude for what they'd saved. January 2025, 2 years since Emma's diagnosis. Emma had a follow-up at the oncology clinic. Both parents attended, as always. Dr. Patel reviewed the labs. Everything is perfect. Emma is officially 2 years in remission. At this point, her cure rate is over 95%. She beat it. Emma pumped her fist. I'm a superhero. You absolutely are, Dr. Patel said. In the parking lot afterward, Rebecca turned to Nicholas. I know this is going to sound strange, but would you want to get dinner? The 3 of us? To celebrate? Nicholas hesitated. Every boundary they'd carefully constructed over the past year screamed against it, but Emma was pulling on his hand. Please, Daddy, can we? All together? He looked at his daughter's hopeful face, then at Rebecca's careful expression. Okay, he said. Dinner? They went to Emma's favorite restaurant, a pizza place with arcade games. Emma played skee-ball while they waited for food. Nicholas and Rebecca sat across from each other in the booth. This is weird, Rebecca said. Very weird. But Emma's happy. That's what matters. The pizza arrived. They ate, made small talk about Emma's school, upcoming holidays, logistics. Nothing deep, nothing painful. Just 2 parents sharing a meal with their daughter. At one point, Emma climbed into the booth between them, one arm around each. This is the best day ever, she said. Nicholas's throat tightened. Rebecca's eyes shimmered with tears. Yeah, baby, Rebecca said. It really is. That night, after Rebecca dropped Emma back at his house, Nicholas sat on his porch. His phone buzzed. Rebecca, thank you for tonight. It meant everything to Emma and to me. Nicholas. She was happy. That's what counts. Rebecca. I know we can't go back. I know I destroyed what we had. But maybe, someday, we can build something new? Not a marriage, just friendship, real co-parenting? Nicholas stared at the message for a long time. February 2025. Emma came home from Rebecca's week with a drawing. I made this in art class, she announced. The drawing showed 3 stick figures holding hands, labels in wobbly letters, Daddy, Mommy, Emma, a house in the background, sun in the corner, hearts floating around them. Do you like it? Emma asked. Nicholas looked at the picture, this child's vision of a family that no longer existed, but maybe, in some form, still did. I love it, he said. Can I keep it? Yes. Put it on the fridge. He did. And every time he looked at it over the following months, he felt something complicated and painful and strangely hopeful. April 2025, spring afternoon, 70 degrees, clear sky, Emma's kindergarten soccer game. Both Nicholas and Rebecca attended. They sat on the same blanket, not close, but sharing space. Emma played defense, ran the wrong way twice, kicked the ball into her own goal once. She was terrible. She was also having the time of her life. At halftime, she ran over. "Did you see me?" "We saw you," Rebecca said. "You're doing great." "I scored." "Well, you scored for the other team," Nicholas said gently. "It still counts." Emma ran back to her team. Nicholas and Rebecca looked at each other and laughed. Real laughter, not forced, not performative. Just two people sharing a genuine moment of amusement at their daughter's chaos. The laughter faded, but the connection, brief, fragile, remained. That evening, after Nicholas dropped Emma at Rebecca's place, he drove home slowly. The sun was setting, sky painted in orange and pink. He thought about the past 2 years, the betrayal that had destroyed his marriage, the reveal that never happened, the anger that had consumed him, and the slow, painful process of letting it go. He wasn't there yet. Still had hard days, days when the old rage flared up, when he looked at Rebecca and felt the knife twist all over again. But those days were getting fewer, and in between them were moments of unexpected grace. Emma's laughter, Rebecca's genuine gratitude, the fragile foundation of a co-parenting relationship built on ruins. It wasn't what he'd planned, but it was something. June 2025, late evening. Emma asleep in her room. Nicholas sat in his home office looking at the latest foundation report. In the past year, they'd helped 247 families dealing with pediatric illness, covered $3.2 million in medical bills, kept families housed, fed, together. He thought about Jennifer Hollis, the woman who'd emailed him years ago about her daughter Mia. Thought about all the other families whose names he'd never know. Children who'd survived because someone helped carry the weight. That's what SyncFlow's money had become. Not a surprise reveal, not a gesture of love, but something better. A lifeline for people drowning in the same storm he'd survived. Purpose born from pain. Nicholas opened his laptop, started typing an email to the foundation board. "I want to expand the program, double our capacity, reach more families. Whatever it takes." As the cursor blinked on the screen, Nicholas thought about the question people had asked him over and over in the past 2 years. "Do you regret it? Building everything in secret?" His answer had changed. At first, yes, absolutely. The secrecy destroyed everything. But now, he wasn't sure. The secrecy had been a mistake, he knew that. But the building, the empire he'd created in silence, that had saved Emma's life, had funded her treatment, had given him the resources to fight for custody, to provide stability, to create a foundation that helped hundreds of children. So maybe the lesson wasn't don't keep secrets. Maybe it was simpler. Build things that matter, love people fiercely. And when everything falls apart, because sometimes it will, choose what you rebuild carefully, not for revenge, not for pride, but for the people who need you most. December 2025. Emma turned 6. The party was at Nicholas's house, backyard decorated with streamers, 20 kids running wild. Rebecca arrived early to help set up. They worked side by side, blowing up balloons, arranging food, setting up games. "Remember her first birthday?" Rebecca said. "She smashed that cake into her face, and then cried because it got in her eyes." They smiled at the memory. Emma ran over. "Is it time for cake yet?" "Not yet, birthday girl," Nicholas said. 30 more minutes." Emma groaned dramatically and ran back to her friends. Rebecca watched her go. "She's so happy." "Yeah, we did that. Despite everything. We gave her that." Nicholas nodded. "We did." Rebecca turned to him. "Thank you, Nicholas, for giving me another chance, for not shutting me out completely. I know it would have been easier." "Nothing about this has been easy." I know, but you did it anyway. For her. For her, Nicholas agreed. They stood in comfortable silence. Not comfortable like they used to be, but comfortable in a new way. The comfort of two people who'd been through war together and survived. Scarred, changed, but standing. That evening, after the party ended and all the guests left, Emma sat between Nicholas and Rebecca on the porch steps. "Best birthday ever," she declared. "Yeah?" Rebecca said. "What made it so special?" Emma thought seriously. "Because you were both here, together, and everyone was happy." She leaned her head against Nicholas's shoulder, then reached for Rebecca's hand. "I love you both so much," Emma said sleepily. "We love you too, baby," Rebecca whispered. Nicholas looked over Emma's head at Rebecca. In her eyes, regret, gratitude, hope. In his, acceptance, forgiveness in progress, peace that was still unfolding. They weren't a family anymore, not in the traditional sense, but they were something. Parents, partners in raising an incredible kid, two people who'd loved each other once, betrayed each other badly, and were slowly learning to coexist in the aftermath. It wasn't the ending Nicholas had imagined 3 years ago, but maybe it was the ending they needed. So here's my question for you. What would you have done? If you were Nicholas, if you'd caught your spouse with your employee, discovered the affair during your child's cancer treatment, would you have fought for full custody, or would you have chosen forgiveness? Drop your answer in the comments, and let me know where you're watching from. I love seeing this community grow. And if this story hit you the way it hit me while writing it, hit that subscribe button. These stories take days to craft, and your support keeps them coming. Remember, forgiveness isn't weakness. Sometimes it's the hardest, bravest thing you can do. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.